What's up, vape fam? Hope everybody's doing good. So, it's supposed to be Squonk Mania. I was going to have probably 5 or 6 different Squonk mods. We build / re-wick, bunch of stuff, and check out each mod. Well, got this in. The Anunnaki RDA from Twiztid Timmy's. So definitely wanted to build it up on the live stream. I have a review for it filmed and pretty much edited. I got to do a couple of little things. But I was going to release that on Monday and decided I really wanted to do it on the live stream with you guys. So I put the review on hold. It'll be up tomorrow or Thursday. I'm not real sure. Just depends on how much time I have to finish it all up and get it uploaded. But it will be up this week for sure. And decided let's just do it on the live stream and kind of cut down on the squonks. I actually decided to kind of stick to 3D printed squonk mods because I got the Avalanche V3 in from Snowcap Mods. I've got the V1 and the V2, but I never got the V3 for some reason, so finally decided to go ahead and grab one. He also sent along this right here, the Snowdrift, which I've fallen in love with this thing. It has a Yeehee chip. I like the Yeehee chip better than the DNA usually. So yeah, I was pretty pumped to find that out. And then it works awesome with the Nitrous 22 and the Nitrous 23. Really, really dig this little thing. It's a great kind of take to work mod with you. Or for me, it's great for the Nitrous because I usually like, like 0.15 build, dual coil builds in the Nitrous. Sometimes I'll do 0.1, slap it on a mech, but most of the time it's pretty much a regulated atomizer for me. So yeah, I was pumped that he sent that along. Also figured we'd take a look. The Zero.SQ from Zero Mods. I've got the Drop Dead on top, the V2 version, obviously. And then this one I really want to try out. I've tried out the mod a bunch, but never this combo. It's the Zero.SQ 30 with the Vortex on top. I have tried the Vortex and Squonk setup, and I really dig it, but I definitely want to try it out with the Zero.SQ 30. So yeah, those are the Squonk mods that, obviously, Snowdrift is not a Squonk mod, but we'll take a look at it a little bit, just kind of show it off some. We'll take a look at the chip, how it's all put together, that jazz. Then we'll take a look at the rest of the 3D printed Squonk mods. I do have this right here, the SQ, the top side SQ with the Dead Rabbit 3 on top. We might, if we have time, we might take a look at this. Might even build this one. I do have coils in it, but I think they really need to be replaced. But a lot of this is really going to focus on the Anunnaki RDA because Timmy did a fabulous job with that RDA. Let's see what's going on in chat. So we got Quilly, what's going on? Mod Vapor, how's it going? Mod Vapor's from Peru. Hell yeah. I love seeing that when anybody is from a country outside the United States. Honestly, I think most of my live stream viewers are outside the United States. All right. Birdie, what's going on, brother? We got Tim Z, Big Dusty 1, Nick 420 Kid, what is up? Who else we got in here? OG Hatman is up in here. I believe Apex Predator is lurking around somewhere. Yeah, thank you guys so much for heading out here just to check out the live stream. I really, really appreciate it. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at the Anunnaki RDA from Twiztid Timmy's. Actually looks pretty damn good on the Ampere 21. This is what we're going to vape it on once we get it all built up. Even shined up the button for this. So yeah, but once you put the beauty ring on, it really doesn't have a lot of, kind of where the atomizer looks way too small for the mech. It actually looks really, really good. I wish the blacks lined up a little bit more, but I have a feeling the more that I use the Anunnaki and kind of liquid gets on it, it's going to darken a little bit more. Most atomizers that kind of have this, I don't know, black, grayish black, always tend to darken up over time and use. Let's pull this off of here. Nate from Vermont won an Anunnaki. It's coming the next day or two. Can't wait. Hell yeah. How'd you win it? That's cool. Big Dusty, I figured you were Dusty Country Roads just by the handle, but I wasn't 100% sure. The Anunnaki is impeccable. Impeccable. That's high praise, Birdie. Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Cicero, what's going on, brother? All right, let's jump to the up and close for this. So, I already sort of showed you. You get a very kind of nitrous-like packaging to this. Get bag of extra O-rings, extra grub screws, squonk pin. I have not tried this in squonk yet. I do plan on doing that, just not this evening. Then, of course, you get a little hex key. I did say in kind of my Instagram teaser for this, I would say whether or not I thought this RDA was better than my two favorite atomizers of all time, which are the Nitrous 22 and the Asgard Mini V1. So yeah, I dig the look of this. I absolutely love this down here. It looks amazing. Looks very much like Sumerian artwork. I was kind of hoping all this would actually be cuneiform. And I think maybe some of it is. It's hard to see. No, I don't think so. I think most of it's supposed to be like Sumerian artwork, that kind of deal. Would have been super cool if it had been cuneiform, but I love what he's done with this beauty ring. All right. Pop our top cap off. You can see the deck is very Asgard Mini, Kali V2 like, but in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. This kind of postless deck design works absolutely amazing with dripping or squonking, so you really can't go wrong with it. I do like got these kind of holes here that line up with your Ultim insert there. I know Birdie had some trouble getting this thing out. I did too the first time, not like a huge amount, but it is kind of in there, factory pressed in there really, really well. Ultim airflow insert. It's not really much different from what you've got going on here on the outside, except your airflow there at the bottom is sort of slanted downwards, which I dig that they've done that. So you've got side on airflow and then kind of that slit at the bottom. It's like it's slanted downwards. Yeah. Making sure I wasn't seeing things. But yeah, it looks like it's slanted downward some there. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the airflow insert's a little bit different from the Asgard. This is like very Asgard-like. I think anybody that looks at this is gonna know it is very, very Asgard Mini-like. You kind of get it up in there and line it up. And now once you've gotten this out, it's super easy to get in and out. You just kind of get your finger in there and drag it down and it will pop straight out. So the top cap, Anunnaki there. I dig the overall look of this. It's very clean, even with having kind of the name right there. Drip tip. This is the thing that, there we go. The O-ring on the inside, and use whatever custom 810 drip tip you want. We're going to keep this on here. The inside. So yeah, pretty much it. You got hex screws, which I love. Would much rather have those than flatheads, and definitely would rather have it than Phillips. Phillips strips out way too easy. Flathead can be made well enough that it's not too big of a hassle, but hex is just far more reliable. We'll back these out. Buttery smooth. Not really noticed any crunchiness or anything like that. Probe screws are fairly big too, and the openings. If I can get a hold of it. Okay. Thought I popped it all the way out of there. There we go. All right, so the coils that I really want to use with this are these right here. They are 10 ply FSS, 3mm, coming out to 0.1. And these things look gorgeous. Pretty sure they'll fit. Leg leads are rather wide, but I'm pretty sure they'll fit. Bertie, I'm interested. What did you cut this at? I did not see your entire build because I was kind of in and out of work, so I was trying to jump in as I could. I did not catch that. Yeah, these are really, really nice. So if you kind of look at it this way, your airflow sitting practically to the deck. Grubs are 1.5mm. All right. I have to use this extra hole on these to cut. 5 or 5.5 for memory, but I don't trust my memory. I was going to go with 4.5. Let's go with 5. We can always cut it down. I'd rather be too much than too little, especially with these coils. We'll go 5. 5 should be fine. I was kind of going to do 4.5, slam it to the deck, and then pull them just barely up off of it. I always call it the coil turd method because that's how he's always said to do an RDA for vaping. V1 and V2, I think, like his way of doing it. So if you ever got one of either one that was loaded where he put the coils in and had it wicked up and ready to go as soon as you opened it up, that's how he did it. He cut it at 4, slammed it to the deck. Only thing with this that I'm a little worried about, I'm going to take it off camera. I don't know if these will work. Oh, they're not gonna. Cannot use these in this, I don't think. I would really have to jank them up. The leg leads are far too wide. Yeah, I'm afraid that they will really jank these up and kind of ruin them. We'll set these off for another RDA. That's kind of a negative for this, but it's a 25. They're supposed to be close together. All right, instead, we'll use another Timmy coil. I was really, really hoping that would work. Like the leg leads will fit in there. The openings are wide enough, but they're far too close together for that style of coil, which sucks because that means also SFCs probably won't work in this very well. Interlocks will probably work fine. But that's that's a strike against it, I will say. Need to look. Yeah, so they're closer together than the Asgard Mini is. The Asgard Mini will fit coils like that. This one will not, unfortunately. We'll go 5 on these. These are some Twiztid Timmys. Radeon V2s coming out to 0.09. Pretty much always on the money. I have had them come out to 0.08 on rare occasions. Usually Timmy's coils are spot on. I'm bummed now. I'm super bummed. That kind of sucks. I use standard aliens. Said the post holes are very narrow. They are. I thought they were, just looking at it, I was like, I can make that work with those. But no, they are just shy of being able to work with coils that are that wide. So definitely not, probably not a good thing to do with series coils unless they're smaller. All right. Get our leg lead clippings out of the way so I don't step on them later. All right. Get these tightened down. What is going on with that one? Didn't lose a grope screw, did I? No. Okay. I think I just had it almost all the way out. Having a little problem getting the hex key to completely fit in there and sit. Kind of an issue I had with that same grub screw first time I built on this. It's like it didn't, I don't know, it was almost like the hex portion of it was a little too thin for that particular grub screw. Probably a factory issue. All right, let's take our airflow insert out and just see where we're sitting. I'm going to have to juice this O-ring up because it came straight off. Because I keep pulling it in and out and I've not juiced it up yet. So yeah, and I could actually move them a little bit farther apart, but I would kind of like, don't know what I want to do here. But I think that's good. We're going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Mainly because I've already done them where they are ridiculously close to that airflow insert. I'm going to juice this O-ring up some with the liquid I'm going to use in it. All right, there we go. That went in a lot easier, and I don't have to worry about the O-ring coming off. Uh-oh. This might be an RDA that I have to do on the Hadron. Gower 21 on some RDAs, the 510 is not long enough to make contact. See what this says. See if that's our actual issue. Yeah. Now it's reading it. It was not reading it. It thought there was no atomizer on the Gower 21. So if you've got one of those, keep that in mind. If that ever happens to you, what's going on there is your 510 pin is not long enough to touch the contact down there. And it's not with all of them. I have some that do that, have that kind of issue, and I have some that do not. I'm really bummed about not being able to use those 10 ply. That was the whole reason I was like, I'm going to wait and do it on live stream. But that's also my fault because I eyeballed it and was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can make that work. And I thought I can make coils like that work in the Kali V2 and the Asgard Mini. But apparently not this one. And that did not take hardly any time for it to coming out to 0.09 on the money. Timmy's coils always look amazing. Once you fired them, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. All right. Grab some wicks here from our Pro Vape Cotton. I have mine fairly close to the Ultim for flavor. That's what I did. The first test build that I did and the build that I did for the interview. I got them a little bit closer to the airflow than what they are here, but I want to try them about like this, because with the Kali V2 and the Asgard Mini, I normally will put them as close as I can to the airflow, but every once in a while I like them closer together, so a bit more of my dripping just goes directly over the coils. And that's kind of what I want to try here. Not initially what I was going to do until I started looking at it with that insert on top of it. And then was like, actually kind of want to try this about where it's at. Not going to do too much raking this out. As I said before, I think the Pro Vape Cotton is a little on the thin side. And if you've wicked Kali V2 or the Asgard Mini, you've basically wicked this thing as well. Very, very similar on that end. And there we go. All right, so the liquid I'm going to use with this, used a different liquid to test and a different liquid for the review, but it's my favorite liquid. So to really kind of gauge flavor on this, I'm going to use my vanilla custard. On all the flavors, it's just called Sorteal's vanilla custard. And that way I can get a better idea of, you know, like I said, I was going to tell you guys, I liked it better than the Asgard Mini V1, and if I liked it better or not than the Nitrous 22. My two favorite atomizers pretty much ever. Turn this wattage up some. I really dig the design of this RDA. I like how thick that Ultim airflow insert is. I've actually had to replace Ultim airflow inserts on the Asgard Mini because I've just kind of burned them up and they'll get scarring marks to them and a little worried because I was getting it, some of the coils too close to that airflow insert. So back in the day, I always bought extra whenever Vapor's Cloud had them. This one, I don't think is going to be so much of a problem or an issue if you do happen to get your coils a little too close to that airflow insert, just because it's so thick. I don't see it warping the way the Asgard Mini airflow insert can if you just have your coils too close to it for too long or too often. Every build you're doing, they're practically touching that thing after a while. Now, don't get me wrong, these Fralian V2s are nothing to sneeze at. These are some of my favorite coils, if not my favorite coils out there. Go, looking good. All right, let's jump back up top. We're going to vape on it like this for a minute. The usual jazz. Test it out on the regulated and then swap it over to the Ampere 21. Turn this up a little. We'll start out about 90. All right, here we go. Flavor off this thing is fantastic. One thing I don't like about it is the sound of the airflow. Now you can cut it down if you like. And that sound, kind of the volume on that sound goes down. It's almost like a wind tunnel sound. Not loud like a wind tunnel, but kind of that swoosh type of sound. It's not so audible if somebody else is vaping it, but if you're vaping it, you're definitely going to hear it. See there, once I turned it down, like here, I'll show you how far I turned it down, if it'll show up on camera. Yeah. So, what is that, a third of the way down? Turning it down by about a quarter to a third, somewhere in there, that pretty much goes away. But if you like it wide open, it has a tone, I will say. You like my Bob's your uncle? I don't know where I got that from. I mean, I know it's a saying, but I don't think anybody around me ever said that. I must have heard it one time on movie, show, whatever. Thought it was funny, and now just keep saying it. I'm deaf, so it doesn't bug me. I'm deaf too, but I can hear it. And it may just be me. You might try this out and be like, I don't know what he's talking about, because it very well could be the position of the coils. Although as I got them closer to that airflow, I could still kind of hear it. It is a little bit louder this time, and it's not loud. Loud's the wrong word. It's more noticeable this time around with the coils a little bit farther away from that airflow. Like I said, once you, let's see how much I have to turn it down to get it to go away. All right, here's wide open. Just barely cut it down. It's gone. So it's only wide open. You just barely cut it down a little teeny bit and it goes away. So yeah, I'm not super concerned about that. Let's crank it up. I'm just sitting here vaping and talking about it. Let's turn it up. I just stopped on 108, so that's where we're going to stop. As long as it doesn't scream at us, we'll be good. Sounds good to me. It's probably just me. Wide open, it's mildly annoying, but it's not a big deal. It's definitely not a deal breaker or anything like that. And like I said, once you just barely turn that airflow, it goes away completely. Definitely louder with the coils closer together. Yeah. Yeah, once you've got them real close to the airflow, it's nowhere near as bad. It is there, but it's not as loud as this. And also, that's me leaning right up to the mic. All right. I think our cotton's mostly broke in. It's not screaming at me. So grab the Ampere 21, wipe my hands off so I don't get liquid all over it. And then we're going to grab one of these. This is the 10 Power 50 XG. Probably my favorite battery right now. My favorite 21700 at least. I still really dig the P50Bs. They are amazing batteries. But these 10 Power 50 XGs go a little bit harder for a little bit longer. And then their drop off is kind of like the P50B, where it's very linear, doesn't fall off a cliff. Oh yeah. All right. Let's do it all the way wide open. Maybe a little more power that won't even be noticeable. Birdman, you take it easy, brother. It's still noticeable, but less so with more power pushing through. Then turn it down just a hair to kind of get rid of that. That was not enough to get rid of that. There we go. Oh, these coils are burning through juice. Must hydrate more. All right, so what do I think about this thing overall as far as how is it with flavor? And what do I think about it in terms of, is it up there and with my favorite RDAs ever? It's very, very good. Flavor off this thing is amazing. Is it better than the Asgard Mini V2? To me, it's probably right on par with it. Maybe a hair bit better. Flavor off of it is very comparable to the Asgard Mini V2. I have noticed with certain styles of coils, Fralians being one, flavor's a little bit better. Then if you use something quad core, Fuse Clapton, something along those lines, pretty comparable between the two. Generally, I would say I probably like this a little bit better than the Asgard V1, Mini V1. But now not being able to use wider legged coils, I don't know. So I'm going to say they're comparable. They're on par with one another. Is it better than the Nitrous 22? No, it's not. It is an amazing atomizer. I don't mean to make it sound like it's not, but to me, the Nitrous 22 pretty much blows everything else out of the water as far as flavor goes. They're durable. You can use them on a regulated mod, and the flavor is spectacular. You can throw some low 2.5 millimeter coils in it, and it still shines on a mech. You can put 3 millimeters in it, but if you like chain vaping, the Nitrous 22 is going to get hot. That's its kind of downside to it. But flavor wise, I like the Nitrous 22 better than this. But like I said, this is a hair above. If I had to list my top three, let's say, with adding this in, would probably be the Asgard Mini V2, the Anunnaki RDA, and the Nitrous 22 being one. I should have done that backwards. So yeah, I really, really dig this thing. I don't mean to sound like I'm bashing on it at all. But imagine with different caps available, could do fusion cap, cyclops, downward shoot, etc. I always think that's a good idea with an atomizer. Like Coil Turd posted a thing saying, what if we redid the V1 to correct all its issues, an RDA for vaping V1? Honestly, he could do that and that would be great. But I posted a comment on there. I noticed he did like it, so maybe, and a couple other people said the same thing. Just do airflow rings for the V2. V2 is practically perfect. It would probably beat out the three I just talked about if it had airflow rings that had different types of airflow. You could mimic the 3-2-1 hole design of the V1. You could have other ones that do smaller honeycomb airflow. You could do all kinds of stuff. You could do ones that come in more to compress the chamber more. Just because of the way that airflow is, it's like the airflow is just completely removable. Not necessarily a part of the top cap. It's a little piece you can make more in any kind of style you wanted. That thing would be the greatest atomizer of all time, in my opinion, if it had that stuff. Sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna hydrate again. This thing is drying me out. All right. So yeah, I really dig this thing. I definitely think if you like the Asgard Mini V2 or V1 and the V2, if you like Nightmare Mini, any of those type of 25 millimeter atomizers that are big on flavor, you're gonna absolutely love this thing. It is very, very good. And I love the look and design of it. I love that the airflow insert's thicker than the Asgard Mini V1 and V2. Maybe Tony can print some airflows for it. It's a possibility. I didn't even think to ask Tony about that. But it might be a possibility. My top RDAs are the Nitrous 22 and 23, an RDA for vaping, and the TMF V2. That's a very good one too. Flavor is all I care about. Nothing else matters to me. I won't use an RDA if it isn't as good as those three on flavor personally. This one's very good. As far as an RDA for vaping, the V1, I like this better. Maybe not the Nitrous 22. And I kind of lumped the 23 in with the 22 just because they're so similar. This custard tastes amazing out of this. Now, I've tried lower coils in this than these 0.09s, and it works great. Sometimes I do find myself wanting more airflow, but not by much. I saw a couple people talking about how it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it's extremely good, but it's not that good, unfortunately. I love it, but it's not the greatest thing like ever. Close, but no cigar. All right. And that seems like I'm bashing it. I really don't mean to seem like I'm bashing it. I love that thing. Love it. But there's at least a couple of atomizers I like better than the Asgard Mini V1 and V2 really. Kind of have that added thing of you can get fatter coils in them more easily. So it's just that kind of thing. I'm in an RDA for vaping V2. Never had the V1. The TMF V2 is my favorite of all time. It's a damn good RDA. Never had the V1 of an RDA for vaping. It's really good. It just has issues. It gets very saturated on the outside and underneath that little airflow ring that it has. The deck is mildly off center, which I never even noticed that until somebody said something about it in the comments of that coil turd post that he did. And I went back and looked at it and I was like, it is slightly off center, but it's not bad. Like I said, I had not noticed it ever until someone said something about it. Typhon GX, Tripod 2, Profile RDTA, Kennedy 25, and Hadley are my top 5, maybe. Hadley is damn good. As far as flavor, if that's all you care about, the Hadley it's up there. Kennedy 25 too, and the Profile RDTA. I would say the Profile RDTA, at least in RDA setup, is probably in my top 10 easy. The Typhon, or the Typhon, I never really got into those. It's just not my speed. But for what it is, it's very, very good. All right, let's check out some of this other stuff. We'll talk about the Anunnaki a little bit more before this is all said and done. All right, so with my favorite atomizer of all time on top, and I'm kind of like you, flavor is the biggest thing for me. Like, I know Tony P and I kind of had a conversation one time about, I was talking about how I didn't really like 30 millimeter atomizers all that much, except for, you know, a handful of them. And he's a very big 30 millimeter guy. And he was like, I guess I'm more of a cloud guy, vapor production guy than I am flavor, but I'm definitely flavor first and foremost. All right, so yeah, this has got the heat chip in it. It's a little more simplified than some of the other ones I've seen, but yeah, you can basically kind of change your curve as far as it's gonna hit strong and then level out. Is it just going to be neutral or is it going to be soft? Normally, I've got it on neutral for the Nitrous 22. And then, yeah. Battery compartment opens up. Has to be positive down or it will not work. And you've got kind of a adjustment here for your 510. This on the bottom is actually a plug, and then you can kind of get to the 510 and I think the chipset a little bit easier. I've never taken this out or messed with that, but I did see Dan's video on it, and that's basically what he said about it. I dig this thing a lot. It gives me a Yeehee chip and a 3D printed design, and I don't have to worry so much about dings and dents and all that. It's very good for just like a work mod. It works great with the Nitrous 22 or 23. I think it'll fit upwards of a 25. So, I mean, even the Anunnaki or the Asgard Mini V1 will work on this thing just fine, just minus their beauty rings. So, yeah, I really dig this thing. It works extremely well. I thought the button was kind of weird when I first got it. I was like, what in the, why that design? But it works well, so I can't really complain too much. You got USB-C as well. That's pretty much it. A very cool little mod. Dan did not have to send this along to me. I ordered up the Avalanche V3, and then when it came in, it also had this, and he had a little note on there saying, hey, you should try the Snowdrift as well. And so I did, and it was pretty damn good. All right. So this was what I ordered, the Avalanche V3. Really dig this 3D printed squonk mod. And it has, you know, they've kind of almost always had the open on both sides where you can pinch the bottle, or it's just easy if you're left-handed or right-handed. I dig it for being able to pinch because you can get more liquid out of it. These are all the ones we're going to be looking at are that way, where it's open on both sides and you can kind of pinch the bottle. I really dig that. None of these, unfortunately, have an easy fill method, which, you know, is what it is. But if you've got squonk refill bottles, it's really not that big of an issue at all. So yeah, I dig the way this looks. I wish I could have gotten one that was painted, and I might get another one that's painted because the painted Snowcraft mods feel better. This almost feels, it's almost leathery. And I dig that about it. And the paint job just seems to make it feel better in the hand and feel like it's a little bit more durable. Whereas just the solid black, at least for this that I got, and the snowdrift, it feels 3D printed for sure. But I mean, I really dig it. I just wish I'd gotten one that was painted. But I didn't like any of the painted ones that he had available. So went with this one. Not a problem there. All right. Pop this off. Now, all these atomizers have coils in them, so I'm not going to do builds on them. We will do quick re-wicks. But let's take a look at this. Got your sled. Pop this out. As you can see, your sled is kind of cranked over like that, so it makes good contact there. You can take this all the way apart, remove that bolt, get this out to clean it, and then you can remove this piece. It just pops upwards, and then you can pop it out of there. I'm not going to do that today, but you can get this whole sled out to clean it as well. Pretty similar to the other versions of this. My only real, it wasn't that big of an issue this time, is getting that bottle back in there. You don't have a whole lot of space. Like, it's the perfect width for this bottle. So kind of getting it back on the nozzle and back in there it's not a big pain in the ass, but it's a little more fiddly than a lot of Squonk mods. I have this upside down. I think I do. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll re-wick this drop or Nightmare V2. It's got the same coils in it that we did up on the previous live stream. So I think they are some of those recoil coils, if I'm not mistaken. Should come out to 0.1, and yep, what it's telling me. All right, grab some cotton. All right, what's going on in chat? Best Hellvape product is Dead Rabbit Pro RDA. Still waiting on other modders to follow suit with a deck that's similar. Not a fan of his new printing. The older mods feel way better. I would agree. I would agree. I kind of want to try one of the, and now I've already like repulsed and pinched these, so it's pretty much straight up ready for cotton. The aluminum one that he did. But I'm curious if like that's the way he's going. Like eventually everything is going to be aluminum with 3D printed parts to it. Or if it's just a few things will be that way. We don't need much in the way of wicking on this one. Don't always out of habit. I just kind of measure it a little bit. Lost my nitrous beauty ring, but I've still got first batch murdered out rocking to put on the Quib click fit. Nice. I have so many nitrous. Sorry, excuse me. I probably have too many nitrous. I think the only ones I don't have of the 22 are a couple of like the pastel ones. It's like a pastel green. I can't remember what the name of that particular one is. And then there's one that's kind of a pink. And I don't have the Kamehameha, but now that I know their store is still open and just selling whatever they have left, and they do have the Kamehameha one left, even though it's the dual cap only, which I'm not as big of a fan of because the cap is thinner and it gets hotter a lot easier, a lot quicker than the global version. I still want that color combo just because I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. So, but I have a ton of them. I have way too many Nitrous 22. All right, for this one, I'm going to use this is actually sour blue raspberry lemonade. It's up on all the flavors. It's kind of an older recipe of mine. It does use Vape Train's sour lemon. So if you've lost the ability to get a hold of that, it might, I don't know, might be impossible to make. You can, I have made it with SSA's lemon sour type, really low, because that stuff is super strong. And it did turn out pretty good. So if you've got that and you want to sub it, it will turn out pretty good. But it's mostly Lavora lemonade and Wonder Flavor sour blue raspberry candy, along with, actually it has another flavor that's damn near impossible to find, which is Perillum's sour raspberry candy. So it's not trying to be a authentic lemonade or like a blue raspberry lemonade you might get at IHOP or something like that, but more like a Kool-Aid blue raspberry lemonade. But I really dig this recipe. I need to do another version of it with easier to source flavors. And I'm hoping I can fill this bottle fairly easily with this. Pop that off, pop our bottle back out of here. And so just the top portion of this, and I think this is Ultim. Oh yeah. I dig that. It's wide open so you can use whatever bottle you feel like using as far as your liquid goes. Stop about there. Always make sure you leave room for the straw. And with no easy fill method, squonks just can be messy. I'm sure everybody here knows that. Here we go. Bam. That wasn't too messy. A little bit, but not much. That back on there. All right. So because this is a mech, we're gonna do the usual jazz. We'll vape it on this a little bit. Not have it. I do not. There we go. Oh, come on. All right. Now it's on there finally, somewhat. Can't remember if this one just does not go completely flush. There it goes. All right, cool. Jump back up, vape on this for a minute. And I'm actually super pumped because I've not vaped this recipe in a while. And I was very addicted to it for a good long time. Turn the wattage up. Start at 80. Oh my God, that's good. Got several tips and beauty rings lost somewhere in this room. They just disappeared. I tried a sour blue ras lemonade last month and it gave me hideous brain freeze. It was like scoffing a bowl of ice cream after 2 puffs. Dang. Did it have coolant in it? I don't do coolant. I'd love to get a Matterhorn one of these days. They are very, very nice. Possibly my favorite mod that he makes, that Dan makes over at Snowcap. I would love to see a V2 of it, just to see what he does. Said I had to hate vape 100 mils of it. Guess I'm sensitive to the cooling that thing used. It used a cooling to try and make it sour. That's interesting. I wonder what they were using. I don't like cooling at all. Like, I haven't talked. I've got Licious, his Neapolitan ice cream flavor. I haven't talked about it because I can't vape it. It does not have a lot of cooling in it at all. And it's not a minty cooling. It's not a mint. It's not a menthol. It's very reminiscent of like WS-23, something along those lines, but it ruins it for me. Any type of cream, ice cream, anything like that, and you try and put coolant in it to mimic the fact that it's supposed to be a cold ice cream, ruins it for me. But that's just my taste. The ice cream part of it, what I could taste was very, very good. And you could distinguish between the three flavors, which I thought probably wouldn't be the case. I thought the vanilla would get buried by the chocolate and the strawberry, and that didn't really happen. You definitely can taste that as well. It's lighter than the other two, but it's not completely buried. So he did an amazing job at it. Just has coolant, and that's just not me. You strike me as a Game of Thrones fan. I was. I think I'm kind of like a lot of people. I was until that final season. Oh, that's really good. I'll crank it up a little bit more, but shouldn't really have to because about 100 watts is probably going to tell us all we need to know. So one thing with this Nightmare V2 that I'm not a huge fan of, it gets hot really easy. I mean, these are 0.1. And it gets hot super fast. All right, need a battery for this one. Let's use a P50B. All my P50Bs are orange wrapped. Now with this being oh, it does not want to go in there. Hang on. There we go. Bam. Now this does, like all of them, have a locking feature. Just turn the button all the way to the side and it won't fire. Then you just turn it back and it's ready to go. This is all silver contact, so this thing hits like, you know my saying, it hits like your girlfriend's husband. Check out the squonk action to this one. Very nice. And the bottle's smooth. The whole squonk action to this is very smooth. You don't have to pinch it. You can just kind of press it a little bit, especially when it's really full, and you're fine. But I like that it's open on both sides because as the liquid gets less and less, I don't want to fill it when it's, you know, 2/3 of the way empty. I can pinch it and get more liquid out of it. That's why I like that style. Yeah, this is really good. This liquid is really good. It is definitely a kind of Kool-Aid like blue raspberry lemonade, but it's very, very good. Love my Nightmare for squonking. Yeah, as soon as I got this in, I was like, I got to put the Nightmare V2 on this. I like it for dripping as well. Its only problem with dripping is kind of that under airflow gets clogged up with liquid a little too easy. So it's a little gurgly. It's not bad. I don't mind it the way some people can't stand it as a dripper, but I don't mind it so much. I like it as a dripper, but it probably is a better squonking RDA, honestly. So yeah, I dig this thing. I like this one better than the V1 or the V2. I think it works a little bit better. I like the overall design of it a little bit better. than either one of those, and it seems to hit harder. So I really dig this. This is also kind of a work mod. It's not gonna dent up on you if you drop it or anything like that. Nothing's really gonna break on it. Just the fact that it's 3D printed and it's thick 3D printing. It does not bend or move to your touch. Kind of like you think about the Pulse V3, you kind of squeeze in on just the body, you'll hear it creak and groan from you doing that. Not with this one at all. That is my wife in chat, guys. Be nice. There we go. Yeah, the Elena Turner 4052. That's my wife, guys. Yeah, I dig this thing a lot. It's very, very cool. And it's a great squonker. Is it better than the other two that we have? Let's find out. We'll do this one first. This is the Zero.SQ, the original. Fits upwards, I think, of a 28, which is nice. Let's look at the up and close, because this thing's got some pretty cool things to it. Yeah, you got the Zero Mods logo on the back. Very wide open on both sides. Got the Drop Dead 2 on top. I'm going to go ahead and take it off. I'll also talk about some of its downsides, along with the 30 as well, although he corrected almost everything with the 30. So the top pops off. There's your bottle. One of the biggest problems with this one is that teeny little nozzle. So almost every time you go to take this off, as you can see, it's not holding on to it by much. So because of the magnets, a lot of times when you go to take it off, it'll just come away from the bottle. Not a huge deal. If you can get it to just pop up sometime, like straight up, without having to do one side and then the other, the bottle will come with it a lot of times. But probably majority, it's just going to come off and leave the squonk bottle inside there with it. The magnets are super strong. I did have an issue with this one where this magnet came out with this one. Just came along for the ride. So I had to glue it back in there. Problem with that was, I guess, I mean, I only used a teeny little drop of like super glue on this thing. And now it doesn't want to completely sit down flush. I got to figure out a way to take this out, because this one is not indented as much as this one is. This magnet also came out and I had to redo it, but I learned my lesson and I used almost none. Pushed it down in there and it was good. But this one, I got to either wait for that seal to break and it come away with this magnet and redo it, or try and figure out some way to get it out. It does not interfere with the functionality of it at all. It's just a little annoying when you know it's like that and it kind of moves too much. But that's it. And that's my fault, not Tony's. Definitely my fault. Did not do my gluing correctly. All right, let's take this out. You got a sled on the inside there. This little piece on the bottom is what holds the sled in place. There's a hex screw here on the bottom. I am not sure off the top of my head what the size is. I do have a review for this one, and I'm pretty sure I tell you what size the hex key is. But you just unscrew that. This little plate will come off, and you can get your sled all the way out. So the sled's just one piece. Button will come out with the sled because it's just being held in there by the pressure of the sled itself. And then when you're hitting the fire button, it's just making contact with this ring. See, it does not hold on to that bottle well at all. Really need to clean this up better around here. I did polish this up, but you've got to take this all the way off. And then this is also an adjustment for your 510 there. So you'll have some atomizers, you'll have to loosen this up or tighten it up to get the atomizer to go flush. And then also so it's not too far down and pressing on the base of the bottle when you try and put it in. But yeah, this just comes all the way off. Okay, there's your nozzle. And then there's a piece right here. Also comes off. Just unscrews. And then that bolt right there comes off. Now, at first, you can get this off with ceramic tweezers. But after you've used it for a while and you've unscrewed and screwed back down atomizers, and if you tighten this too much like me, because one thing is this would spin sometimes. It would unhinge that bolt and then your 510 would spin. But I've got it so tight down now that it does not do that at all. Problem is I can't get that off without taking everything apart and using the bolt, which probably how you should do it anyway, just to be on the safe side. But I did remove it and kind of tighten it with ceramic tweezers for a while. And it worked fairly well, but it does better with the bolt. Or with a socket, I should say. All right. So now that we've done it all back together, kind of tighten this down, see if it sits flush, and it does. Then you'll want to kind of check this. Just tighten it up. Now you know it's sitting flush and the 510 is touching your 510 pin there. And there you go, Bob's your uncle. That's pretty much it. All silver, it's all Australian silver. Only uses like that, I think it's 99.9% pure Australian silver. It is some of the best silver I've ever seen used in a mod. It is super hard hitting. All right, so all we need is cotton. These have already been fired as well. They come out to 0.1. These are not the recoil coils. These are, I believe, with Tofo aliens. I think they're the 0.22 aliens, but they almost always end up coming out to 0.1 instead of 0.11. So yeah, I think they're really more 0.2s. Did the same thing with my Gehenna by Tranquil magnetic top like the Zero.SQ. Try gluing magnet backwards, but I have 3 more bodies. I did that on one mod. I cannot remember what it was, but yeah, I glued. Oh, it was a Boro mod. I think it might have been one of the original Pulse. It was the magnets that hold the door on. When I glued it back, I had done it upside down. So now, of course, it repelled. Luckily, it was the door magnet. And I was like, well, got another one of these mods. So I'll use it for parts. And there you go. All right. I think that's pretty good. Where'd my angled tweezers go? Might be a little too much on that one side. Well, we'll see. Oh no, I think that's good. Looks pretty damn good. That was quick. All right, so for this one, what am I going to use? Oh, this is my watermelon lemonade. This is a new recipe. I have not posted it yet because I have not perfected it. I really want it to be a lemonade with the lemonade being more potent in it and more prominent than the watermelon. I initially wanted it to almost be like a lemonade where you had put watermelon pieces in the lemonade and just kind of let them sit for a while and then take them out instead of, full blown where the watermelon and lemonade are kind of on the same footing. It's still kind of like that, but it's not quite perfect yet. Initially, I was going for authenticity, and I kind of was like, this isn't working. So ended up with Flavora lemonade and Flavora pink lemonade mixed, which is an amazing mixture, but it's not an authentic lemonade by any stretch. All right, I think that's good. Pop this back on here. I dig this atomizer. Like the Drop Dead 2 V2, I really like this. Not sure why, but I do. It's very similar to a lot of other atomizers, but I dig it. Actually, let's turn this down. I was firing that thing at 100 watts just to juice up my cotton. We'll start at like 75. That's really good. I've mainly been using this liquid, the watermelon lemonade, with this and the nitrous around 65, 70 watts, and I really dig it. This at 75, and I'm sure higher, I kind of like it more. I think the watermelon comes through a little bit better. SSA double watermelon, Perillum watermelon, Flavor West lemonade natural, and Perillum lemonade. That would be a good one for sure. I really wanted to use Flavora's fresh watermelon because it has that grainy texture that watermelon has. You can taste it in that flavor a little bit. It's not super strong. It's not like watermelon strong or Capella double apple strong in the graininess, but it's definitely there. I wanted a little bit of that in this lemonade. But I do love SSA double watermelon and Perillum's watermelon. Yeah, that's really, really good. All right. So let's just crank it up to 100 just to make sure. Uncle Bob here, you can put a couple of thin silicone O-rings around the two barrels to get rid of that uneven wobble. That's a good idea. Waiting for the magnets to work themselves back out. Thank you very much. I didn't even think about that, but that's fucking genius. All right, put this back down on here. Grab a battery. Actually, let's fill the bottle up. This one has a little less space, but I think we can do it. Actually, what I could do, this right here. Kind of Squonk refill bottle style. That was easy enough. And I'm never one to like fill the Squonk bottle completely up or get it to where once I put the straw in, it's like as full as it's going to get. I'm just not, I just don't do that. Always leave some space. All right. Oh yeah, we don't have a battery in here. We'll go with another Molicel P50B. Oh yeah. All right. Wait, let's check out squonk action. Oh. Why did it not squonk? That wasn't good. It went everywhere. I have no idea what happened there. The squonk pin is in it. I don't know what happened. I bet it came away from this nozzle. Yeah, exactly what it's doing. Now I gotta clean it up. So I did not have the, let's jump back up top while I mess with this thing. So did not have the straw long enough. I'd used this not too long ago, but I guess where I had to adjust the nozzle for the drop dead. No, it's not working at all. Let me see something. There, it's working. It's coming off of it like immediately. Right there, it'll stay. It just falls straight off. The downside of the Zero.SQ, the original one, is that nozzle. Now, when you've got it all lined up perfect, everything's working, it works absolutely amazing. Get this battery out. It's probably got liquid all over it too. But when something like this happens, you just end up with liquid everywhere. The SQ30 does not have this problem that this one has. I'm going to pull this straw out even more. It just comes straight off. I need a new straw for it, I think. All right. See if that works. This time I pulled the straw way out of there to the point, like now it even pulls the bottle out with it somewhat. Let's see if it works this time, shall we? There it goes. Yay. So yeah, probably need a new straw in that, but I think I just didn't have it long enough in there. All right, here we go. It hits like a tank. Make sure it's still working. Yeah, it's working fine now. I thought I had it long enough. Pretty much had it the same position for the last atomizer that I had on here, which I think was the Dead Rabbit V3 that I was using with it. But with this one, and where I had to adjust that nozzle and tighten it up more than I had before, I needed to pull that straw out. So that's more on me. But that nozzle, it really sucks to kind of mess with on this. Have you tried the Decree RDA? Nope, I've never even heard of that one. Definitely recommend picking up that metal straw Reset 510. What metal straw reset? I don't know what that is. Is that something Tony has? I didn't know he had done anything with it. And quick bottle swap. I would dig that if it would work on this. I like this one better just because it looks better with 25s than the 30 does. All right. Go ahead and look at the 30. Well, I'll leave that on there for now. So we're going to use Vortex. I was already starting to screw it off. It was not that up on this one, I promise. So same deal. Bottle stays with it. And you've got a whole different mechanism. I mean, it's almost hard to get the straw off of that nozzle this time. You went with a completely different nozzle. It's a lot longer. It's fatter. It works much better. Here's our bottle. Pretty standard squonk bottle. Now, I don't taste the bottle like in any squonk mod. So I don't know if these bottles have a taste to them where some people find, you know, that they don't like squonks because they can kind of taste the silicone from the bottle. So yeah, I don't know about that with this one, unfortunately. So this plate down here is a little different this time. It comes up a little bit to hold this in place. And one thing with this, where you've got that crimp, I'm not, actually, we can take this one all the way out. I think this is the right size. And I can show you the sled. Just all the way out of here. So I don't lose it. This sits at the base, and this holds your sled up against the device. The one in the original SQ does not have this portion to it. It doesn't really need it because the sled is almost a perfect L. But this one, a little bit different. He added a crimp to it, and for good reason. With this one, you want this back because if you try and bend this to, say, get a shorter throw, it's going to auto fire on you. The distance between it and this contact piece, as you can see, is not much at all. And I've actually kind of bent this piece back just a little bit because I had a couple of times where I tried to adjust this to get the throw where I wanted it. Was too much and it would just auto fire. They're just too close together to adjust this much at all, but you don't really need to. I wanted to just because I'm picky, but the throw on it's fine. And you just kind of get it back down in there, holding your button in place. So you get that down in place and up against that sled. I always kind of hold it on the inside there so it doesn't shift around on me. But yeah, you want that top portion of the sled back so it's sitting pretty firmly against the button and sitting in kind of that cutout right there perfectly. If it is above that at all, it'll auto fire on you. So pretty much leave it as it comes. Trust Tony. If you doubt Tony, it will auto fire on you. All right, let's re-wick this real quick. And for this one, I'm going to use my Happy Grape drink for this one. I am like obsessed with this liquid. It's what I've been using with the Keen and the Recoil R3, and I've been using that thing constantly. Grab some cotton. I really dig this atomizer. Like I said before, I'm not huge on 30mm atomizers because I'm such a flavor whore. And there's just a ton of them that if you put the same build in 30mm and then you put the same build in at 25, 24, 25 or 24 is going to have better flavor. There are a few exceptions to that. This being one. This one has absolutely amazing flavor. The Asgard V1, the 30mm, it has great flavor for a 30mm. The Asgard Mini V1 has better, yes, but in comparison to other 30mm atomizers, the Asgard is pretty damn good. You're not familiar with it at all. Inside, this does come out. I'm not going to do that. Essentially, your airflow is coming in, going down through these channels, and then coming in here, right up against your coil. Very blaze-like. There's a lot of blaze-like decks out there. Some of them are a little too blaze-like. This one, I don't know if it was supposed to be a blaze initially, and then Mike went with Thundercloud, and they had already started or something. I don't know. Unfamiliar with the story of this one, but it is very blaze-like. Then you've got like the Dead Rabbit V4 RTA. It's a little too blaze-like, especially when their company had nothing to do with Mike Vapes. Kind of why I don't have a review for that. I don't even own that RTA. A lot of times I'm just like, okay, it's a blatant ripoff, but I still kind of want to try it. That one was such a ripoff that I was kind of like, man, if I get that, it's just going to feel icky. All right, so our grape happy drink. This recipe is up on all the flavors. It is only 3 ingredients other than sweetener and nicotine, if that's your jam. This has some 0.1 aliens in it. I honestly can't remember. I want to say they're coilology. Pretty sure they are. All right. Looking good. Turn that down. Still blasting my liquid on my cotton at 100 watts. Start out at 80. This liquid is so good. It tastes like a cross between a grape slushy. That was kind of what I was going for, was a grape slushy. It has some of that texture of a grape slushy, but it also reminds me of a grape popsicle. You know, like, I don't even remember what they're called, but like get them in like a net, a whole bunch of them. They're just like a tube that, you know, that wide, about that tall. The grape version of those is what this tastes like. The little bit of grape slushy on the aftertaste. Mike said it was going to be the 30mm Blaze RDA. Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. Totally different from the Skulls edition. Yeah, it is. I really want one of those as well. I'm always like, as soon as he comes out with something that I want, which is pretty much anything other than series or Boro, I'm like, give me. Then he'll come up with an updated version of it, and I wait on that. All right. Grape has been one of those things in DIY that like a lot of people hate. And I think it's because people want authentic grape, and that is insanely hard to do. There's not a whole lot of flavors that really nail authentic grape. Couple that do okay. But if you're going for artificial candy grape, there's a bunch of really good flavors out there for that. And all three of the ones that are in here are really good because I use Full City Flavors, Grape Slushy, Flavor Jungle's Ultimate Grape, which is really good, and Wonder Flavors Grape Candy Sour. As someone that daily drives a nitrous, the Asgards have always been mid to me, which sucks because I wanted big old hat for my Republic, but it had an R3 on it at the moment. I mean, I've heard people say they don't like the Asgards. And I think like if you're really adjusted to 22s, those size atomizers, even going up to 25, you're going to notice a hit to flavor. It, in my opinion, is less with the Asgard and the Anunnaki than most other kind of 24s, 25s from something like the nitrous. But also, the nitrous just does flavor better than anything almost. I might argue about the Hadley, but the Hadley being single coil kind of takes it out of contention for me. It's great for testing e-liquid recipes, things like that, but I'm not big on daily driving a single coil. And as far as flavor on a dual coil, the nitrous just destroys everything pretty much. Dusty, you would like a good grape? I mean, if you don't mind artificial candied grape, this one's good, but authentic grape, BSO's grape was pretty good as far as authentic. All right. I've got this at 100 watts. It's not screaming at me. Let's fill this bottle. It's going to kind of be the same deal. I'm not going to go the up and close. We're just going to pinch it and kind of do it squonk refill bottle style. Oh, I can fit more in there. Yeah, that's good. Like I said, with this one, it's not really an issue with the squonk bottle. Do need to pull the straw out a little bit more though. Yeah, that's good. Grab a battery. I'm actually going to grab Ampace JP40. Well, let's stick our atomizer on it first. I got all leery with the OGSQ. I love Tony's stuff. I really do. But I seem to break everything he makes. I don't know why, but I do. But I kind of hope like he's like, oh, okay, well, Sorteal's going to grab this thing. Sure, he'll break it, and then I can improve upon it next time. Now we can put our battery in here. And we'll check out the squonk action, which is something I definitely wanted to check out with it. Oh, yeah. Ton of juice well space in this, just given that it's a 30, but also just the juice well in this thing is huge. This is really, really good. I dig this liquid out of the Vortex. Like, it's still extremely grapey. I lose a little bit of the slushy kind of aftertaste. I think just because it's a larger atomizer and also it's more heat than what well, no, it's not. It's about the same. But being a 30 millimeter, a little bit more kind of room in there to lose a little bit of that. With the Recoil R3, it is amazing. Recoil R3 would definitely be in my top 10 favorite atomizers ever. And I didn't like the first two. I destroyed my first Zero.X, don't feel bad. That's one I didn't destroy. But like the original 01, the 510 plate came away from it. The glue seal broke. The bolt came loose. As you can see, had issues with this one. Had some issues with this at first, but they weren't really big. It was kind of the magnets came out like as soon as I got it. But I'd learned my lesson off that one, so I was able to glue them back in there a lot better this time, and it fits flush. Doesn't move around or nothing. What else? Zero.X I had no problems with, really. I replaced that piece of tubing that cushions the bottom portion of the sled. I bought a whole big thing of thick, like squonk tubing, although they think they call it medical tubing, and put that in there, and it worked a lot better. I didn't have to keep adjusting that little bottom portion. I thought I was going to eventually bend it and break it off because the battery would get loose. So yeah, I had a decent experience with the X and the 02. This one so far has been an absolute tank. It is the best one he's put out by far. I have not broke it, and I've tried. Well, I haven't tried, but I've done what I normally do with all the Zero mods, and it hasn't broke. So yeah, doing good. The updated version of the 01, when he did all the silver and all that, I don't think I broke that one. I don't think I broke that one. Luckily, Tony always helps us out. He does. Like, he walked me through the whole process of getting that 510 plate on the original 01 back on there, as far as what would be best to use to kind of sand off the remaining glue, what type of glue I should use, the socket I needed to really tighten up that bolt on it again. And I mean, it works fine now. But, you know, I broke it. I break them all, except for the 2 and the X. Dusty, you have a good night, brother. I think I'm going to have to call it as well. I really dig this, especially with the Vortex. The Vortex is a great 30 millimeter atomizer to squonk with. It's one of the few. The Asgard is also another one that does really well with squonking. But I think I like the Vortex a little bit better for squonking on a 30 millimeter. Yeah, it does amazing. And I really dig the SQ30. I really want the Skulls version because he did kind of update some things other than just the body design. So yeah. All right, guys. What am I gonna? What am I gonna? Oh yeah, let's use this. We've been the Anunnaki. So yeah, I probably like the Anunnaki a little bit better than the Asgard V1 by just a hair, but not as much as the Nitrous 22. Definitely an atomizer worth checking out and picking up. Don't take all my nicks and things to it to heart. It is an outstanding atomizer. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out, hanging out. Don't know if there'll be a live stream next Monday because I've got some reviews to do, and normally I have to do one or the other just time-wise, but maybe. If so, I'll post on YouTube Shorts and on Instagram. if we're going to have one or not. But again, thanks everybody for hanging out. And, you know, as always, you guys take it easy and vape on.